right, everyone, welcome out to West Lawrence High School. We caught up with head coach Stacy Nobles, and Coach Nobles, we're coming off spring practice, and spring's always a good time to look at a few different things, kids coming up, so kind of catch us up on what's been going on out at West Lawrence, Coach.
Well, we had we did our first week with the rising ninth graders. We did them separate this year because of the numbers. We did them over the middle school. Had a
What
group
you mean
of,
by the numbers, Coach?
Well, we were going to have, if we put them all together in the spring, we'd have over 100, probably 120, 100-something kids. So we can just get a lot more work out of them. We put in a week over there with those rising ninth graders. Didn't have any equipment on, but it was really a great week, solid week. Taught them, our base stuff. And just got just to be with them. They come out here. I'm short on coaches where they'll get lost in the shuffle.
Sure.
So we got to go ahead and install everything with them, and get a good base down with them over that week. And we had about 35 kids out, and it was a really good week. So very productive. And then we came over the next 2 weeks and did our spring practice here with the varsity. We had about 70, 75 kids out. We were missing several, a few from track, several from baseball, and so we got a few guys ineligible right now that's working on that. So we had a lot of guys that we at some different spots, some new kids, new faces, got to see what they do. We had a lot of kids step up, and praise the Lord. The most important thing was we made it through the 3 weeks with only one injury, and J.D. Jones banged his knee up a little bit in the last practice, but we're hoping he had a pretty good report at the doctor. We don't think it's anything major, so he should be hopefully back full bore with us this summer. So, but that's the most important thing. Anytime you get to banging around in spring, I kind of hold my breath the whole time because, we want to make sure the kids get out of there healthy, and we did. So, we'll have a couple weeks off now, catch our breath, and get back rolling here in June.
All right, but Coach, when you get out in spring now, you really, you want to see who's hitting.
Oh, yeah.
You want to see who's grown, who's going to want to lay the wood to each other, so to speak. So you got just a couple of weeks there, so I guess that would be a concern with injury because, most time when you start the season, you're kind of working your way into the contact, but it's like turn on a light.
Yeah, well, the thing about spring is, and that, one of the downfalls of spring is your kids aren't conditioned, and we tell them that at the beginning. We understand, guys, y'all aren't conditioned to do what, this is what we do in August. And, we're going to have the entire summer to get you conditioned and for that, So we come into spring and understand the fact that, the kids, we're strength-wise, we're really good right now, but as far as, just the conditioning and being out in the heat, that lags behind. Right. So we take that in consideration, and, so it does. But, it was 8 days of knocking the mess out of each other. Every day, we're going at it. Oklahoma, board drills. We're wanting to see who, like you said, it's a whole lot easier. When you get out there with just helmets on in summer, you can tell a lot, but you can't tell. You can tell a whole lot of difference when you put those pads on and buckle up. And like I said, we had a few people out because of being ineligible. We had a few people out because of different things, and we needed to see, who we were going to have. We got a great group, a great nucleus coming back offensively and defensively. And, we needed, we had to have some guys defensively. We got 7 starters coming back, and 2 of those guys were out because they're ineligible. So we had 5 kids out there that, got a lot of valuable experience and showed us, the things that they could do. And then offensively, we're starting over at the quarterback position. We got a new offensive coordinator coming in, and, just getting everything established. Terminology, I was very, very pleased, with how spring went. I think we're as far as, we're ahead of schedule, I would say. Defense, we're doing the same stuff, so our kids know that. Sure. So we knew the defense was going to be farther along than offense. But as far as our offense goes, I was very pleased, in the spring with what we were able to get in and what we were able to come, how the kids were, reacting to the new verbiage that we're going to use some, and, a lot of the same type stuff we've been doing, but some new tweaks and different twists, and the kids jumped on it and responded really well. So that was very encouraging.
All right, so your offensive coordinator, Coach Respert, came in and worked the 2 weeks with you, right?
Yeah, Jason Respert, new offensive coordinator. He was actually here all 3 weeks. He was here for the middle school week and then the 2 weeks of the varsity practice. So, he's going to be a great asset for us. He's a great coach. He's a great man, loves the Lord, is going to do things right, gets after it, loves his kids. Already they respond to him well. He respond, so he's going to be a big asset for us. And neat to see how God opened the doors and for him to be here. and close some other doors. So we're excited to have him. We got Chuck Hill coming back in. He's going to coach our wide receivers this year. He's been the head basketball coach at Toombs County the last 2 years, I believe. He was here at West Lawrence before. And he's coming back over and going to get back into football with us. So he's going to be a big asset for us. So we got some couple new faces out there. We've lost a few folks, but we got a good core group of coaches out there that are going to work these kids hard. And we're going to, like I said, very, very pleased with the progress we made during spring.
What's the changes we're going to see in offense?
Basically, we're going to base out of a pistol, which is not a lot different than what we've been doing. We're going to run. A lot of our same stuff, a lot of our read stuff, powers and counters. I mean, we're going to run basically it's the same stuff. The biggest difference is the terminology. I want Coach Rashford to be comfortable with how he's been calling things, and it's a lot of times it's easier to train these kids than it is to train old dogs. So we're going to let him use some of his verbiage and information, but a lot of the same stuff. It's just going to be different type of terminology and all that the kids have gotten caught on to really quick, and I like the way we're doing it. So I think it's going to be a good fit for us.
Good. All right. So offensively, tell me about your offensive line. Who we got there?
Well, we got a lot of guys up front that had a lot of experience last year. We got at tackle we got Joey Knight, who will be coming back. He's a big guy. He'll have a chance to. He started for us the last 2 years on the offensive line. You got Joseph Horn, who started for us last year as a sophomore. Joseph's going to be a great player for us. He'll be at one of those tackles. Your guards, you got Marshall Akerd back, who started for us off and on his sophomore year and then started for us full-time last year. He'll also play a little center for us if need be. Yeah. And then we got Noah Garnto. Noah's going to be a big deal for us. If we can get him to come on and be that center. He'll be a junior. He's a big kid. He's 6'4", 3+. I mean, he's a big old load. So if he can handle that center position for us, that allows us to leave Marshall at guard where he's been playing, and that makes us a whole lot better. And then we got Dawson Knight who's played offensive line off and on. We moved him last year to fullback because we didn't have a lot of depth there, but he worked at the guard for us this spring. And had a good spring for us, So the offensive line has got a lot of experience coming back. You got Jalen Baker, who's going to be a sophomore. He had a really good spring for us. He's going to be a really good offensive lineman for us. He got some experience in there. We had several other guys that that got in and did some good things. And we got we got a lot of depth there. We don't have a lot of experience. We got a lot of bodies. So we got some young kids that are going to have to step up. And are going to have to get strong quick, and they're going to have a really good summer because right now we feel pretty good about our first six or so, but that's not enough at this level. We need to be we need to be a little more solid. And then you got Peyton Baggett working at the tight end. Peyton had a good spring for us. Peyton, a returning starter there last year. Ladarius Williams will be back in the summer. He was not eligible this spring. He's a big spark plug for us. He's gotten a lot bigger. He's 6'3". About right at 250 now. He's going to be a big player for us on both sides of the ball. And then we got young Torrey Williams. We're going to split out some at the tight end. He's only a sophomore. So we got some pieces up there. We just got and we got a lot of experience in that core first five. But it's going to be key for us. That's one of the keys for us offensively to develop some depth on that offensive line.
Yeah, it's going to need it with time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're going to need it. They're going to wear down big guys like that. How are you looking at quarterback?
Quarterback, we had a really good spring. We got 4 kids out there that are really getting after it. Austin Ramsey started some for us last year. He had some shoulder problems, couldn't throw it well at all last year, and ended up having shoulder surgery in the off season. Came back from that, already looks a ton better throwing the ball. So the surgery was definitely a success. And he probably come out of the spring as a front runner. Had a really good spring. Learned the offense, learned to manage it. He's a ball player. He started for us on defense the last 2 years. Yeah. And he's that we got to be able to handle the adjustments and all up front. And he did a good job with that this summer. Blake Kite, who'll be a junior. Blake had a really good spring. Blake came on and did some really good things. We got Guy Anderberg, who missed the first week. He's never played quarterback before. But got in with us that last week after baseball got done, and he's got some potential. He'll be a junior. And then we got A.J. Mathis, who's going to be a freshman. He's going to be a special player. Real excited about A.J. He's a lefty, and he's got I'm telling you, we threw a lot at him quick, and he got in there, and we actually brought him up with the varsity and did some really good things. Got in there, and mixed it up. So he's got a chance to be a special player for us.
Picked right up on it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, he picked up on it, got in there. Didn't know no ill effects from throwing that small ball in middle school. I mean, he was right in there and completed a lot of passes, did a lot of good things for us. And we threw the ball a lot more this spring than we probably will. Just working things and seeing who play, what kind of playmakers we have. And I was real pleased. Quarterbacks, Coach Respert's going to coach our quarterbacks, and he's going to work the snot out of them. And so I'm excited. They're probably a little behind from where we need to be, but I don't have any doubt he'll have them caught up quick. Once he gets down here full bore in June and gets a hold of them. So, it's a promising group.
All right. So what about receivers?
Receivers, man, we had a lot of kids step up. I mean, Storm Walker. Everybody knows Storm. Storm is he's a freak in the weight room. He's gained a lot of strength. 330-pound power cleaner. Just phenomenal speed. He's going to be a big weapon for us, and he did a lot of good things for us this spring. Made great catches. Ran the ball well. We handed it to him on the rocket. Also starting the corner for us. So he's going to be a spark plug for us. You may see him some Wildcat quarterback. We got to find a way to get the ball in Storm's hand. He's an athlete. He's a playmaker. Yeah. And did a lot of good things for us. Adrian Channel had a good spring for us. Adrian's a big senior that we need to come through. He's got all the talent and God-given ability. Just got the mental side for him. And he had a good spring on both sides of the ball for us. So really excited about that. Elijah Howard had a solid spring. Elijah's a returning receiver for us last year. They made a lot of plays for us at the end of the year. He'll also start at cornerback for us more than likely, and he had a really good spring. And then Caleb Christian, I tell you that last week when they got done with baseball, Caleb had probably three of the. I've been doing this a long time, but Caleb probably had three of the most impressive days of practice I've seen at the wide receiver position in those 3 days. Man, he was catching every ball thrown to him. I bet he caught 20 balls in scrimmages on those last 3 days.
Makes you feel good, doesn't he, Coach?
Absolutely. I mean, he was going after it, getting up and going. So he's going to be a huge contributor for us this year. He had a good year for us last year, but he's going to be a big part of what we do this year. Case Matthews, another one of those baseball guys that came out. He had a good spring, made a lot of catches for us. We got several guys out there. Eric Lattimore, Christian Martin. We got some depth at wide receiver. Jalen Sims, another big-bodied guy. We got some kids that, experience-wise haven't done it on Friday night yet, but we've got some potential in that group, that I'm real excited about. Like I said, those top 4 or 5 did some really good things, but there's a lot of guys right behind him. McKinley Kemp, I forgot to mention him. McKinley's going to be a great spark plug for us. He's got exceptional speed. As I say, he'll be a sophomore this year. Probably going to start for us in the secondary, but also he's going to be a huge part offensively, with handing the ball to him in the rocket, catching the ball. So we got some talent out there at wideout that we're excited about. That'll be a great addition to us with the run game that we think we're going to be able to put on the field.
The Ice House is a beautifully restored warehouse in downtown Dublin that mixes Southern grace and history with an urban modern flair. Book your next special event today at 278-7224. The Ice House, downtown Dublin.
All right, let's flip the ball over and talk about defense.
Defensively, our defensive line's got a chance to be real special. Like I said, we had 2 of those guys were out this spring because of grades, and hopefully we can get that taken care of. Their players, we already know what they do on the field. It's just a matter of them taking care of their business in the classroom. Right. And so that was Mateo Elvine and Ladarius. And we had Chandrika Smith out there who had an awesome spring. He's 6'2", 280, 5 flat 40, 320 power clean. I mean, he's the epitome of a football player, and he had an awesome spring, man. Got after it. A lot of college attention. Picked up some offers last week, and doing some really good things. You got Abram Morrow, who's going to plug in there at the nose guard for us. Abram, when you look at Abram, he don't realize how good he could be. He's a 6'3", 275-pound kid who runs a 4.9 40. The kid is a special kid, so if he can keep his head on straight, and he's going to be a handful there and learn to play low. He's got to learn to play low. That's one of his biggest weaknesses right now. man, he's fast. I mean, you know, you put our D line out there, that could be a formidable, you know, a great asset for us. You got Nathaniel Allen and Dorian Gorham returning there in the middle at the linebacker position. You know, both those guys. Nathaniel's up to 210 pounds, 300 plus power cleaner. Had 111 tackles last year as a junior. Runs around well, really well. Really excited about Nathaniel, great leader. And then you got Dorian, who's going to be a junior there. He's a 300 plus power cleaner. He's 6'2", 220 plus. I mean, so he's got the body of your prototypical linebacker. Also going to play fullback for us. So those two in the middle, and then with the D line we put out there, we feel like we can be really good on that side. And then the outsides will be Adrian Channel had a great spring for us. Ben Deal, you know, Ben Well, he got in there mixing it up. He's got a chance to be a great player for us out there on the outside at the outside backer. So we got some of those kids that are going to have to step up, you know, especially with Austin. If Austin ends up being the quarterback, you know, we got to have more help on that side. So that's another good thing from spring. You know, we got some valuable film, you know, on some of these guys that hadn't played a whole lot with the varsity. So, you know, with some of these guys being out, you know, Darius Williams went up playing some in that linebacker, but Adrian, like I said, Adrian came in and filled in admirably during the spring and showed us that he could stick his nose in there and play that outside backer position. So, you know, and then we got in the secondary, we got some new faces in the secondary that we got a lot of growing to do there. Like I said, McKinley's only played 4 days of safety, and you know, and he did a really good job and picked up things fast. And by the end of the summer, he'll be doing. He's got the athletic ability and you know, the God-given talent to be great back there. It's just a matter of getting him schooled up. And Coach McClain will do a great job with that, of getting him right. Yeah. And then we'll you know, McKinley's back there. DeAndre Wright's another a huge question for us. You know, if DeAndre has all the talent in the world, extremely strong, runs great, athletic. You know, we'll use him there at that strong safety. He had a really good spring at times. He's still got a lot of growing to do, and he's got to do it fast. You know, because we need him to come on. He's got Dorian Evans, who's going to be a sophomore, who's backing him up right now, who's really pushing him hard. Dorian's going to be a special player for us. He's also works at the tailback position and going to be a really good player for us. And then on the outside, on the corners, you got Elijah Howard, you got Riante Demons, you got Christian Martin's working out there. Storm is the only returner in the secondary that's out there right now, and he had a really good spring on both sides. So, like I said, we got some talent, we got some pieces. It's just a matter of getting them schooled up, and how bad do they want it? You know, how hard are they willing to work? We're going to push them like we always do, and you know, they'll be coached up. And it's you know, it's hard to believe we won't put the pads back on till August 1st, and then we start scrimmaging August 12th. So I mean, it'll be here before we know it. Yeah. And we got a tough schedule, and you know, but we're excited about it. So again, it was nice. It was great to get back out there, and you know, just see our kids run around, and you know, our kids have you know, they want to be good. You know, and that's the difference now. We don't hope to be good. They expect it, and they know what it takes. They know that, you know, we're not satisfied with being second. You know, and that's what we harped at them all spring. You know, senior leadership is going to be a huge deal for us. We've already talked about that before. But, you know, I'm staying on these seniors about leading this football team because this is a talented group. So, you know, we're going to keep pushing them, and hopefully they'll come on and do what we did. And they did a good job with it in the spring. I was pleased to see that as well. A lot of my seniors bouncing around, doing things the right way, and that's important. Absolutely. And, you know, if they'll do it, it'll trickle down, and we're not going to give them an option. They're going to do it, or they're not going to be out there. Yeah. You know, and that's the key, and I think they know that. And you know, so we, you know, we're asking them to fill big shoes, and that's what we expect them to do, and carry it out, and be great with it. So
we got some hot summer days ahead, Coach, and a lot of work going on in the weight room, summer workouts on the field, but we know you'll have them coached up and ready to go come August.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the kids we got and the coaches that I got here that you know, God's placed here. I mean, we got a good group of kids, man. And they'll work hard for us. They'll do anything we ask them to, and that's the key. And that's what it's going to take for us to, you know, get out of that second place. If we don't want to be at second, we got to do something different. And you know, so we're going to ask them to go, you know, push themselves harder than they did last year.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back out at West Lawrence in the days to come. So stay tuned right here on TV 35.